name is Joseph Edgar.
I'm the convener of this masterclass.
We're trying to have a session this morning on sexual relations in the workplace. Basically, when business owners do a threat analysis, they don't usually take into consideration the issue of sex. But in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, sex has now become a major threat, a potent threat to the survival of institutions. That's why we want to have that conversation. We want to see how these issues affect the organization in 4 ways: legally, the brand, human capital, and also the system and the processes. That's why we've also put together a very strong faculty of speakers. We have business owners, we have lawyers, we have psychologists, and then we have PR and brand communications people.
Sexual relations in the corporate world often raise complex challenges, particularly when considering the interplay between professional responsibilities and personal interactions. Consensual sexual relations between 2 adults in the workplace are not unlawful per se. However, engaging in intimate activities at the workplace is generally considered inappropriate because such a relationship can lead to legal issues.
But what I want to tell you is that the crop of people in this room, you're actually decision makers in your workplace. So it clearly shows that you, after today's section, with the faculties here, then I think you can go back and now make some laws in your organization to address this issue of sexual relations at work. I did a lot of sojourn in my banking career. I went to so many banks. And I remember one of the MDs said, if people are dating each other, maximum of 1 can only be retained in this organization. So if you like, you can date yourself, but maximum of 1. So we now found out that people got married secretly and they never changed their names. We now found out the husband and wife coming to work every day. And the danger in it is that in most organizations, sexual relations actually affect so many things. You become very partial. Some people get to the peak of their career without working hard for them. So when you see some MDs, some senior people, directors in organizations, you find out that they are empty there. And some of you that are hardworking and very smart wonder that how can this person be this and that? And that is one of the problems this sexual relationship have at work.
When you talk about sexual relationship, it becomes a little bit sensitive. An organization must know ahead of time that the nature of human being, the social relationship that we build, is likely to create some conflict down the line. So because of that, if organizations is conscious, you start by saying, since men and women will work here, we have to define boundaries. Some of these boundaries must be professionally defined, but when they're defined, they must be instituted. And when they are instituted, you must ensure that you respect your own law, policies, and you must have a work environment that protects all parties.
There are organizations who will tell you that, look, we believe that when spouses work together in the same workplace, they are likely to protect the interests of the organization. They won't want it to fail because that's their source of income, right? But at the same time, you have the ones who would also have the school of thought that this is too dangerous. Imagine if wife is in strategy and husband is the CFO, and the things that can happen to the organization if they are within the same organizations. But of course, there are also the ones who have the rules, who would say that, look, you know what, we operate a holding company.
From what I found online, it's actually very, very common. It's actually a global phenomenon. All across the world, people actually do engage in sexual relations in the workplace, either secretly, openly, or scandalously. We find out in one way or the other. But it's actually very, very common. And it's been shown that over 60% of employees actually do engage in workplace romance. And fortunately for some, we've seen quite a number of them end up in marriage.
You could put non-verbal harassment as mid. It can be low. You have to decide what works for your organization. You now start looking at the metrics to now start picking out which one is high, because those are the things you need to address.
There's a good side to sexual relations in the workplace. and there's also a nasty side to it.
The purpose of that gender policy is just to address the issue of the same thing we are talking about, especially within the Nigerian police force, how gender desks can be created in all departments of the Nigerian police force.